Very good morning, everyone. How are you all? Last class, we have started India's introduction. I hope you have understood the application part of India's. Any doubt? No, no. I will come to that point today only. Doubt is that whether India's is applicable to foreign companies or not. Doubt? So, of course, the last class we have not done the entire part. Some portion was left. Okay. Now that doubt will be automatically over. Okay. Now let us complete this India's introduction first. Let us complete. But what we have done, you have understood what is India's. India's is the converse form of IFRS. Whenever we say IFRS, it include IAS. IAS become India's 1, 2, 3, 4, 241. But there are no, effectively not 41 IAS, correct, which is equivalent to IAS. IFRS become India's 101, 102, 2116. Means, of course, IFRS 17 is also drafted, but India's 117 means India's 117 is still now not effective. It is related to insurance company, and because of that reason, till now for insurance company, India's is not applicable. Understood? Once India's 117 will become effective, so it will also be a part of your syllabus. Therefore, you need to pass as soon as possible. Otherwise, you need to learn one more India's. Correct? Now, we have done the roadmap for for the live classes. Already we have started the class. Now, so for roadmap, what we have discussed that the first instance it was applicable for the companies which are not banking companies, insurance companies, and NBFC. So first it was voluntarily applicable from 1st April 2015. Then phase 2 start from 1st April 2016. What are the companies covered? Companies which are listed or unlisted or in the process of listing, having a net worth of 500 or 500 or more than 500 crore. Correct? And also it is also applicable to any parent, subsidiaries, associate and joint venture of that companies. This point is very simple. Then phase 3, all the companies which are covered in phase 3, for that Ind AS will be applicable, have already been applicable from 1st April 2017. Which companies are covered? All listed companies as well as companies which are in the process of listing. Point number B, unlisted company having a net worth of 250 crore or more. Understood? And parent, subsidiaries, associate and joint venture of such companies. Understood? Now what is parent, what is subsidiaries, what is associate, what is joint venture? Detailed discussion will be done when we will start consolidation chapter. Right now whatever you know, that much you know. Correct? I will not discuss right now who are associate, who are joint venture. Then application of Ind AS came for scheduled commercial bank, insurance company and NBFC. So we have understood that till now for scheduled commercial bank, the applicable application has been deferred. Correct? Means initially was from 1/4/2018, then deferred to 1/4/2019, then now deferred for time being. Correct? Similarly for insurance company it is deferred. Correct? Means for insurance company and banking company till Ind AS is applicable, we are applying the specific act. For banking company we apply Banking Regulation Act. For insurance company we apply IRDA. I think from CA Inter, insurance company has been deleted from the portion. Just in old syllabus, how many of you are old syllabus CA Inter? So I think you have done insurance company also. I have also done insurance company, Bakwas chapter. Correct na? Chalo theek hai. But we have done insurance company, so whatever you have done, I think in that the financial statement, whatever you have done, that was as per IRDA. Banking company, whatever financial statement you have prepared, that was as per Banking Regulation Act. And therefore, if that specific act is applicable, we apply act. Act is silent, then we apply a accounting standard. Correct? Yes, sir. Then for non-banking financial company, phase 1 from 1st April 2018, phase 2 from 1st April 2019. I hope this point also you have understood. Nothing to discuss more. The points to remember, some specific points are there. Let us discuss that point. First point, that Ind AS is applicable for both consolidated and individual financial statement. You can see consolidated and individual financial statement. Now, just small information to you. Whenever we say parent company, so when we say parent company, you all know what is parent company. Any company control other entity, so that become parent entity. Now when it will be known, when it will be considered that that entity has control other entity, that point we need to understand when we'll do consolidation chapter. Correct? Now parent company, for parent company we prepare two financial statement. One is known as separate financial statement, one is known as consolidated financial statement. Consolidated financial statement. Understood? Separate financial statement and consolidated financial statement. This separate financial statement is prepared as per Ind AS 27. Ind AS 27. Correct? Means when we will start consolidation financial statement chapter, that time we'll also discuss about separate financial statement also. Correct? And this consolidated financial statement is prepared as per Ind AS 110. Ind AS 110. We'll discuss in detail. Now, any company which is not a parent company, it is quite possible that any company which is not having any subsidiary, that become that company. So any other entity, for any other companies which are not parent company, we need to prepare financial statement. That financial statement is known as individual financial statement. Individual financial statement. Understood? Correct? Means, can I say separate financial statement and individual financial statement are two different statement? Yes, because separate financial statement is only prepared for parent company. For any company which is not a parent company, we don't prepare separate financial statement, because separate financial statement is prepared as per Ind AS 27 and individual financial statement is not prepared as per Ind AS 27. The individual financial statement is prepared as per respective Ind AS. We'll discuss on detail, cover all the Ind AS. Automatically you understand what we need to do about individual financial statement. Therefore you can see written Ind AS is applicable for both consolidated and individual financial statement. Now you must be thinking that why separate financial statement has not been mentioned. I hope you are understanding my point. Ind AS is applicable for both consolidated and individual financial statement. The point is that for parent company, as per Ind AS, consolidated financial statement is mandatory. Means they need to prepare consolidated financial statement as per Ind AS, not as per Companies Act. Right now I am teaching Ind AS, I am not teaching Companies Act. Companies need to study Companies Act as per respective faculties. Right now I am teaching what? Ind AS. Understood what I am saying? Correct? Means as per Companies Act, separate financial statement and consolidated financial statement both are mandatory in India. But as per Ind AS, what is mandatory? Consolidated financial statement is mandatory and separate financial statement is in addition to what? Consolidated financial statement. Understood whatever I am saying? But because as per Companies Act, as per Companies Act, separate financial statement is also mandatory and Ind AS will not override the requirement of law. Ind AS cannot override the requirement of law. If there is any difference between Act and Ind AS, will follow Act. Understood whatever I am saying? So we can say that Ind AS is applicable for both consolidated, separate as well as individual financial statement. Understood? But whenever I say separate means for which company? And whenever we say individual, individual is for which company? You have understood? Yes, sir. However, in your office, it interchangeably used. Means normally, uh, common person will separate financial statement, individual financial statement, interchangeably interchange this. But in class will not interchange. In exam will not interchange. Understood? Now you must be thinking, sir, what is standalone financial statement? Standalone financial statement. So this is the other name given to the individual financial statement. Any entity which is standing alone. Any entity which is standing alone. Stand alone financial statement. Means for individual financial statement, we may also use standalone financial statement. So normally in your office, I think you might be using standalone financial statement. Understood? Yes, sir. Chalega. So I hope you understood what are the financial statement, consolidated financial statement, individual financial, separate financial, standalone financial. Everything you have understood? Yes, sir. Now, what is the meaning of net worth? Net worth meaning as per Companies Act. As per Companies Act, the rules say that net worth refer Companies Act. I hope in Companies Act you have done the meaning of net worth. Have you done? Have you read Companies Act? Enter. Have you done the meaning of net worth? Yes, sir. So can you see me what is the meaning of net worth as per Companies Act? Anyone? Don't read here. Till I start reading, you are not supposed to read it. Correct now? Because once you read, interest chala gaya. Then better you don't come. You can read by your own because everything is written here. I hope you are understanding. Don't read before I start. Correct? So do you know the meaning of net worth? Huh? So who will say raise your hand now? No one will say raise your hand. If you know the answer, raise your hand. If you don't know the answer, then also raise your hand. Cool. Like this is not as per as per FM. Total asset minus total liability. Out this is as per FM you are saying. As per FM subject, your FM teacher might have given this formula. FM is not based on Companies Act, na. FM is not based on Companies Act. FM is not based on Companies Act. You know, have you done the meaning of net worth as per Companies Act? I'm asking. No? So let us read it. Let us read it. So as per Companies Act, net worth means what? It is but asset minus liability, but we need to be specific as per Companies Act. What Companies Act says. So they say they have given the net worth definition based on capital approach. Means net worth can be calculated based on net asset or based on capital. Both will give same answer. As per Companies Act, they have given net worth based on capital approach. Correct? So we'll add paid up share capital. Paid up share capital, it will include both equity and preference share capital. It will include both equity and preference share capital. Understood? Yes, sir. All reserve created out of profit plus all the reserve created out of profit. Created out of profit means any reserve which is not created out of profit will not be included. For example, revaluation of asset. You have done AS10 revised. There you have done revaluation of property, plant and equipment. I hope you have done upward revaluation. Whenever there is upward revaluation, the revaluation gain will be transferred to revaluation surplus. So that revaluation surplus will not be considered for the definition of net worth. But as per FM, it will be considered. FM means financial management. Understood? Valuation of asset will not be considered. Correct? And created means any reserve which is amalgamation. You have done amalgamation chapter. Difference between a net asset is transferred to either goodwill or capital reserve. Correct? There is a capital reserve that is also out of created not because of profit. That will not be considered. Profit and is revaluation surplus. This capital reserve will not be considered for the definition of net worth. Understood? Apart from this, all the reserve and surplus will be considered. All the reserve and surplus will be considered. Understood? Yes, sir. Add then add securities premium. That is also part of reserve and surplus. Securities premium is also part of reserve and surplus. So securities premium account. Correct? No doubt. Then add, not add, less accumulated losses. Of course, there may be a negative balance of what? PL appropriation account. That is known as what? Accumulated losses. So less accumulated losses. Then less deferred expenditure and miscellaneous expenditure not yet written off. However, now there is no concept of miscellaneous expenditure. There is no concept of miscellaneous expenditure, but there may be some deferred expenditure which is not yet written off. Which is not yet written off. So we deduct from this what? Formula. Understood? So deferred expenditure is also what? A type of loss only. Any expenditure which is not yet charged to profit and loss account. That is also a part of accumulated losses. That will be also deducted. The total become net worth as per what? Companies Act. So this net worth will be calculated and then it will be checked whether it exceeding the limit given or not. If exceed, then Ind AS applicable. If not exceed, then Ind AS is not applicable. Now the question is that this net worth will be calculated based on which financial statement? First question, based on consolidated financial statement or based on standalone financial statement? What do you think? Standalone financial statement means every entity is a separate entity. Correct? So this net worth will be based on standalone financial statement. Understood? Now second question arises, this net worth will be based on which financial statement? Prepared as per accounting standard or prepared as per Ind accounting standard? Accounting standard, because if you calculate net worth based on Ind accounting standard, then so it is applicable only. So this net worth will be calculated based on standalone financial statement which is prepared as per existing accounting standard. Understood? So net worth should be calculated based on stand-alone financial statement prepared as per existing accounting standard. Prepared as per existing accounting standard. Understood? Correct? Understood? No doubt. Then companies whose securities are listed or in the process of listing in SME stock exchange. SME means small and medium stock exchange. Means there are many stock exchange in India. Correct na? For example, National Stock Exchange, Bombay Stock Exchange, no any other stock exchange, Kolkata Stock Exchange, Hyderabad Stock Exchange now does not exist. Correct na? Ahmedabad Stock Exchange. So there are many stock exchange which are small and medium stock exchange. For if any companies whose shares are listed small and medium stock exchange, for that Ind AS is not applicable. Understood? Some relaxation has been given to the small entities. Suppose I want to list my shares, but I do not have so much fund to list the shares in what? Bombay Stock Exchange or National Stock Exchange, but to come into the market, because if I say my company is listed, I will gain some popularity in the market na. Because people never ask where it is listed. Suppose if I say Chiranjeev classes is listed, what do you think about my company? Big company. Never ask which stock exchange. I hope you are understanding. Suppose it is listed in what? Ahmedabad Stock Exchange. Maja aa raha hai? So, but can I say why I have listed there? Because I do not have so much funds. So it means I am a small entity. So any entities whose shares are listed in small and medium stock exchange, for that Ind AS is not applicable. Relaxation has been given. Yes, sir. Now, however, they may voluntarily apply Ind AS. Any company may voluntarily apply Ind AS. Maja aa raha hai? They may apply what? Ind AS. But once they have adopted Ind AS, they cannot reverse it. Any company voluntarily adopt Ind AS in 1 year cannot once again come to what? Existing accounting standard. Understood? Means any company can voluntarily adopt Ind AS even though Ind AS is not applicable to them. It is their choice. Yes, sir. Now, companies which are not covered by the roadmap, for them what will be applicable? Accounting standard notified under Companies Accounting Standard Rules 2006. 2006. Understood? Yes, sir. So, for them which AS will be applicable? Existing accounting standard. Whenever I say existing accounting standard, it means which is notified. Want to write down? Write down. Notified under Companies Accounting Standard Rules 2006. Understood? Simple. Fine. Already I have said once a company voluntarily follow India's, it is irrevocable. Irrevocable means once exercised, it cannot be reversed. Irrevocable. Correct? Means if you want to apply, apply only when if you want to apply for lifetime. Correct? Yes. Now, this point number 7 also I have said the law will prevail over AS as well as Ind AS. AS as well as Ind AS. Correct? Means any act. When I say law, to any act, it can be Companies Act, it can be Banking Regulation Act for banking company, it can be IRDA for insurance company. Law will prevail over Ind accounting standard. Correct? But for your clarification, just try to understand this Companies Act 2013 has many schedules. Schedule 1, 2, 3, 4. You know about Schedule 2? Schedule 2? Schedule 2 is for what? Schedule 2 of Companies Act? For what? I am not getting you. Schedule 2 is for what? Depreciation. कौन बोल रहा है? Depreciation. Very good. Means someone is knowing about Schedule 2. It means in office maja aa raha only. Don't know from where you are taking the useful life. So Schedule 2 has given the useful life for various assets for calculating what? Depreciation. Correct? So Schedule 2 you know. And Schedule 3? Schedule 3 you know. That is for what format? That is for format. Correct? Now, this as per Schedule 3 of Companies Act 2013. So Schedule 3 can be modified as per the requirement of AS or Ind AS. Means it is given under Schedule 3 only that it can be modified as per the requirement of any AS or Ind AS. So can I say in this way, AS or Ind AS will override the requirement of Schedule 3 even though it is a part of Companies Act. Means apart from Schedule 3, any other schedule will prevail over what? AS or Ind AS. I hope you are understanding. Correct? Are you getting whatever I am saying? Yes, sir. But for Schedule 3, this Schedule 3, the format can be modified as per the requirement of any AS or Ind AS. This point have you understood? Therefore, this point I have also mentioned. I think I have mentioned. However, AS or Ind AS will prevail over the requirement of Schedule 3 of Companies Act. Understood? This is only for your information. This type of question will never be asked in exam. Correct? Yes. Now, your doubt about foreign companies. Now, for any foreign company, the doubt will arise when a foreign company is a subsidiary, associate and joint venture of Indian companies. Then this doubt will arise. Now, the point is that what was his doubt? Very good doubt. Whenever this doubt is coming, it means you are a chartered accountant. What I always say that when the doubt is coming means you are thinking like chartered accountant. When doubt is not coming means you are thinking like a student. Understood now? When you are asking doubt means you become chartered accountant. When you are not asking doubt means you are still student. Correct now? Because you are student. When I say student, you are dependent on teacher. Whatever I am teaching, you are following. Even though I will teach wrong, you will follow that. One day I will teach wrong. And if you are following me, means you are still what? Student. Understood? Correct? One day I will teach wrong. Now, suppose a parent company, the doubt is what? A parent company is an Indian company and for that Ind AS is applicable. So they will prepare their standalone financial statement and consolidated financial statement based on AS. Based on, correct, no doubt about this. But they have a foreign subsidiary. Foreign subsidiary, we call it foreign operation. When I say foreign operation means it may be subsidiaries, it may be associate, it may be joint venture. Correct? But I am writing foreign subsidiary. Foreign subsidiary. Now for foreign subsidiary, suppose this is a company in UK, then their financial statement will be based on International Accounting Standard or IFRS, we can say, means they are preparing their individual financial statement. I can mention their own financial statement. Yes, sir. So they are preparing their own financial statement based on IFRS, because of course for them Companies Act 2013 is not applicable, na? For them Companies Act 2013 is not applicable, correct? But because parent company need to prepare consolidated financial statement, means they need to these financial statements should be consolidated in this statement. For this purpose, these foreign subsidiaries should provide their Ind AS financial statement information to them. Means they are supposed to report based on IFRS. Means they will prepare financial statement for reporting purpose based on IFRS, but for consolidation purpose they are supposed to provide what? All the information to the parent company based on what? Ind AS. Is indirectly, can I say Ind AS is applicable? Indirectly, what is applicable? Ind AS is applicable, but directly Ind AS is not applicable. Understood? So for foreign subsidiaries, foreign associate or foreign joint venture, can I say Ind AS is not applicable, but they should provide information to parent company for the preparation of consolidated statement based on what? Ind accounting standard. I hope you have understood. Can I say if they have prepared their financial statement based on IFRS, it is very easy to convert based on Ind AS, because difference is only 5%. Difference is only 5%, so it will not be a tough task. Understood? I hope your doubt is clear now. Doubt is over. Doubt, 1 minute. What is written? It is a relief that a relief has been given. It is a relief that an overseas subsidiaries, associate or joint venture of an Indian company is not required to prepare a standalone financial statement as per Ind AS. Is not required to prepare their standalone financial statement based on Ind AS. However, this entity will still have to report the Ind AS adjusted number, Ind AS adjusted number for the Indian parent company. Means if there is an Indian parent company, to prepare consolidated Ind AS financial statement. Understood? Correct? Good out. Now then, of course, then to no doubt only that foreign company, means his doubt is what? He suppose the Indian company is a subsidiary company. This is your doubt, na? Doubt will come only when this point will arise. Correct? And the foreign company is a parent company. This is the doubt. So they will prepare their separate financial statement and consolidated financial statement based on their GAAP. I don't know what is applicable to them. The Pakistani company, we need to ask Pakistan what is applicable to you. They also apply what? International accounting standard only. But can I say as per their GAAP? Can I write down as per their GAAP? Bolna, or better I write down IFRS, because most of the countries has adopted what? IFRS. So I will write down IFRS. Now this Indian subsidiary company need to prepare their individual financial statement based on Ind AS if applicable, or AS if Ind AS is not applicable. Now for their consolidated financial statement as per this parent company's financial statement, they need to provide information based on what? IFRS. Simple. But can I say this point is not relevant as per Indian context? As per Indian context, this point is not applicable, because we are only here to apply what? Ind AS, not IFRS or what? US GAAP, etc. Understood? Have you understood? Your doubt is clear? Yes, sir. Doubt is okay, sir. Correct. Now the last point is also very important point, that company cannot adopt IFRS as a substitution to Ind AS, because the difference between IFRS and Ind AS is only 5%. I will say they are basically same only. Correct. The question is that whether a company can adopt IFRS as a substitution to Ind AS. Of course, the answer is what? No. But there may be a situation. I am just giving one situation. Suppose there is one company, Indian company, which is listed in National Stock Exchange as well as London Stock Exchange. Now, as per the Indian listing requirement, they need to prepare financial statement based on accounting standard previously. Correct? Means suppose before, I will say before 2016. Before 2016, they were preparing their financial statement based on accounting standard. And because they were listed in what? London Stock Exchange, they need to also prepare financial statement based on listing requirement of what? London Stock Exchange. So they are also preparing, already they are preparing financial statement based on what? IFRS. So already they are preparing their financial statement based on IFRS. It is quite possible before 2016, before 1/4/2016. Now what happened after 1/4/2016, due to the criteria given in the roadmap, now Ind AS is applicable to such company. Now the question is that because they are preparing financial statement based on IFRS, whether they are supposed to convert this financial statement from AS to Ind AS. This is the doubt. They may say that we have already adopted IFRS. There is no need to prepare financial statement based on Ind AS. The answer is no. The answer is no. Means this financial statement cannot be taken as a substitution to what? Ind AS financial statement. Means they need to convert their financial statement which we have prepared based on existing accounting standard to what? Financial statement based on Ind accounting standard. Means IFRS cannot be substituted for what? Ind AS. Understood this point? This point may apply practically also. A practical situation. Understood? Yes. This point also you have understood. Any doubt? Then there are 3 more points which I have given based on case study. This type of question can be asked in exam, till now not asked. Means till now from introduction chapter no question have been asked in exam. So from examination point of view, this chapter may not be important, but for practically this chapter is very important. Correct? The first doubt, the case study, is suppose a company is a parent company, A Limited is a parent company listed company. Correct? So you need to apply your common sense. Don't read till I read any sentence, because once you read, interest lost. Correct? So this parent company is a listed company, and of course if it is a listed company, so can I say Ind AS will be applicable? So Ind AS is applicable, let us assume from 1/4/2016. Let us assume from 1/4/2016. Now B Limited is a subsidiary of A Limited. So can I say B Limited is a subsidiary of A Limited? So for B Limited also Ind AS should be applicable from 1/4/2016. But in this case B Limited is either NBFC or banking company or insurance company, quite possible or not. Now for NBFC, Ind AS will be applicable from 1/4/2018 or 1/4/2019. Understood? For banking company till now, no date has been decided. For insurance company till now, no date is decided. Now the question is that this B Limited being an NBFC or banking company or insurance company, whether to this Limited Ind AS will be applicable from 1/4/2016. Doubt you have understood? Because it is given in the roadmap. If you can see in the roadmap, it is given parent, subsidiary, associate or joint venture above, Ind AS will be applicable from the same date. Now B Limited is a banking company or insurance company or NBFC. They are also a subsidiary of a listed parent company. Whether to that Ind AS will be applicable from 1/4/2016 or as per their applicability time. What do you think? Apply your common sense and say. Apply your common sense and say. Say yes or no, bus only. As per their time applicability. Yes. Because for them, what? There is different time applicability. So even though they are subsidiary of what? Listed company, for them Ind AS will not be applicable from 1/4/2016. Understood? Have you understood? Correct now? Understood this point? So what is given? For NBFC, banking company, insurance company, that is B limited in the above case study, Ind AS will be applicable as per their applicable time. As per their applicable time. Understood? When doubt is coming means he has become chartered accountant. So those who are asking doubt should start adding what? A prefix before your. Understood? Correct na? Are bolna re. Absolute correct doubt. The next point is that only. Means when you think before a teacher, then maja aa raha hai. Understood? When you think before teacher means the next point is that only. Let us take her example now. So I will say louder. Let us take her case study. Can I take her case study? Yes, sir. The doubt is what? H Limited is a holding company. H Limited. Now you need to apply your common sense. Correct? Don't read before I read. H Limited is a parent company. Ind AS is applicable. So they need to prepare their separate financial statement and consolidated financial statement based on what? Ind AS. But S Limited is a subsidiary. It can be either banking company or NBFC, or it can be insurance company, to which Ind AS will be applicable as per their time, as per their applicable time. Correct? So it might happen right now. What is not applicable? Ind AS is not applicable. It is quite possible. So AS is applicable. Right now AS is applicable. It means they are preparing their individual financial statement based on existing accounting standard. They are preparing IFS. Understood why I have written IFS? Because it is not a parent company. Whenever I mention IFS means individual financial statement. Individual financial statement is a financial statement of any company which is not a parent company. I hope you are understanding my emotions. Anyone who is not understanding emotion will get emotions in exam hall. Understood? Yes, sir. So IFS, AS is applicable. Now your doubt. How to prepare this consolidated financial statement now? This is your doubt. Can we combine these two? Can we combine these two? Sorry, not this. Can we combine these two? Prepare consolidated financial statement. Are bolo yes or no? No. So what S Limited will do? S Limited should provide information to parent company based on Ind AS adjusted number. Means indirectly Ind AS is applicable, but not for reporting purpose. For reporting purpose, they are reporting based on only for preparation of consolidated financial statement. They are providing information to whom? Parent company. Means their financial statement is prepared based on AS only. For reporting purpose, they are using accounting standard, but for consolidation purpose, they need to provide information to parent company based on Ind AS. Understood? Correct? It means, can I say voluntarily they will adopt to what? Better voluntarily they will adopt to what? Ind AS. So practically all these companies are voluntarily adopting what? Understood? Understood? Yes, sir. So S Limited will provide information based on Ind AS to S Limited for only which purpose? Consolidation purpose, not for reporting purpose. The two different terms I am using. Understood? Same one more doubt may come. Reverse case. It can be a reverse case. H Limited is a holding company, and H Limited may be a banking company or insurance company or NBFC. Quite possible. Correct? And as per their time applicability, right now Ind AS is not applicable, and for them AS is applicable. Correct? And because AS is applicable, they need to prepare separate financial statement and consolidated financial statement based on AS or Ind AS? AS. So they are preparing their financial statement based on accounting standard. Why? Because Ind AS is not applicable. Ind AS might be applicable after some time. Correct? That's it. But S Limited being a subsidiary company might be a listed company, which is not a banking company, which is not a subsidiary, NBFC or insurance company. For them, Ind AS might be applicable from 1/4/2016 or 1/4/2017. Quite possible. So it means they are preparing individual financial statement based on what? Ind accounting standard. Now, who will prepare consolidated financial statement? Holding company. Can we combine this? No. It means, can I say S Limited will provide information to H Limited based on accounting standard, because CFS need to be prepared based on as per the applicability criteria of parent company. Understood? Yes, sir. So in this case, S Limited will provide information based on AS to H Limited for consolidation purpose. Consolidation purpose. For reporting purpose, they need to prepare financial statement based on Ind AS. Now, they cannot voluntarily adopt accounting. They cannot voluntarily adopt accounting. So, if in exam from my point of view, if they want to ask a question from this chapter, they may ask this case study. Otherwise, from this chapter, I think question is not from examination point of view. They will not ask applicability from you in exam. Correct now? They may ask also. Till now, they have not asked. Now, one practical doubt is there. Let us discuss. Practical doubt. Apply your common sense. But till now, for that practical doubt, there is no clarification. Therefore, of course, that type of question will never be asked in exam. But let's see how you react to that situation. Because you are a chartered accountant. Can I take one practical doubt? Suppose there is one parent company. There is one S1 and S2 subsidiary. Then S1 may have some subsidiary. So S3 and S4. Correct? Then S2 has two more subsidiary. Quite possible. So S5 and S6. Have you understood? Means this P is the ultimate parent company for S3, S4, S5 and S6. Ultimate parent company, you know. Means if P control S1, so P will also control what? S3, S4 also. That I think you have done in your inter also. If you have not done, then wait, we will understand automatically in consolidation. Now, suppose this is a listed company. S1 is a listed company. Understood? And others companies are not listed company. And their net worth is also not more than 250 crore. Means right now, as per the applicability criteria, only Ind AS is applicable to S1. Ind AS is applicable to S1. Understood? Correct? Now my question to you are, whether Ind AS will be applicable to S3? Yes. 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 Whether it will be applicable to S4? Yes. I think no doubt. Whether it will be applicable to P? Yes. Up to this, no doubt. For P, S3 and S4, no doubt. Because can I say, for S1, P is a parent company. For S1, S3 and S4 is a subsidiary company. What is mentioned in the roadmap, that parent, subsidiaries, associate and joint venture above. What is applicable? Ind AS is applicable. Now doubt will arise for this company, whether to them Ind AS is applicable. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Now, whatever you are saying, that is correct as per common sense, but not as per the rules given. Let us read the rules. Means when you read the rules, whatever is given. Correct na? We need to interpret na. So what is given? Check karte hain. Let us see. You read carefully what is given. First, they have given point number, company listed or in the process of listing. Then unlisted company having a net worth of this. Then they have written parent, subsidiaries, associate and joint venture of above of A and B. Understood? Not understood. Can I say, right now if you see this This company, which company? S2 is a subsidiary of parent, and parent was not in A and B. This P was not in A and B. I hope you are understanding my. One second. Can I say in point number A and B, S1 was falling? In point number A and B, S1 was falling, na? Are bolna yes or no? Correct. Now what is given? Parent and subsidiary of S1. Ind AS will be applicable. So one doubt may come as per the wordings, as per the rules, whatever is given, whether to S2 Ind AS is applicable or not. Means can I say as per the rules it is not applicable, but as per the what? As per the interpretation, is as per, I will say, common sense, for S2 also Ind AS should be applicable. Is as per the intention of law. Why? Even though S2, can I say, even though for S2 Ind AS is not applicable, but they need to provide information to parent company for preparation of what? Consolidation. So ultimately what will be applicable? Ind AS is applicable. This type of doubt may come in your office, but this will not be asked in exam. Why it will not be asked in exam? Because no clarification has been. Why clarification is not given? Because clarification is not required. Because practically S2, even though Ind AS is not applicable, they will voluntarily adopt what? Practically. Why they will voluntarily adopt Ind AS? Because they need to provide information to parent company for what? Preparation of consolidated finances. So with this introduction over, Ind AS introduction over. Now any doubt you can ask. Arey, very good. Follow. So you can, if you have prepared this, whatever I write, you should write. This is my good handwriting. Huh? Whatever I write in good handwriting, write. Please write. Huh? I will not say always. You are not writing. You don't have pen. You don't have notebook. Write in notebook, na. Write somewhere. Because what happens when you are writing, then you are understanding also. When you are not writing, you will forget. Writing is very important for a student life. And right now, even though I say you are chartered accountant, you are actually a student, huh? I started saying chartered accountant, don't write. And everything in the mind. So can I say for this company, as per rules, if I say Ind AS not applicable, as per rules, but as per the intention of law, I say as per the intention of law, it is applicable. Correct? Intention is that if one company in a group, Ind AS is applicable, for every company Ind AS should be applicable. That was the intention. Correct now? So as per intention, Ind AS is applicable. Don't worry, this type of question will not be asked. AS is applicable. Reporting means we need to report financial statement to the shareholders. That financial statement is what? For reporting purpose. We need to report financial statement to whom? To the shareholders in annual general meeting. We are reporting. Correct now? Understood? That need to be prepared as per AS or Ind AS as per the applicability criteria. Understood? That is reporting. We are reporting to whom? Shareholders in AGM, annual general meeting. No, I will not discuss much on this. Controversy issue. Now we can fight each other now. We can fight on this. So if there is no clarification, this is my suggestion. Whatever your suggestion, because you are chartered accountant, you your clients. Understood now? Because you are also chartered accountant, you can give to your clients. My suggestion is that Ind AS is applicable. I will not fight into this. So that is wastage of time from examination point of view. Understood whatever I am saying? Correct. This part, your approach may be different. So you might say, sir, Ind AS is not applicable. Even though Ind AS is not applicable, they need to provide Ind AS adjusted number to parent company for the preparation of what? So you can apply your common sense. I am saying this is also correct. They may prepare financial statement based on accounting standard. I am not saying this is not correct. Prepare as per AS, as per the rules. Understood? Correct. I hope understood. Now let us come to the first chapter. So this was Ind AS introduction. I don't consider it as a chapter. So from my point of view, now you know what is Ind AS. You know what is Ind AS and you know to which company Ind AS is applicable. Now we can start with the Ind AS. Now for class purpose, I will follow my approach. I will follow my approach, means I will not start with Ind AS 1. Other faculty may start from Ind AS 1, then Ind AS 2, then Ind AS 3, Ind AS 4, like so. But I will teach as per my approach. The first Ind AS which I want to start is what? Ind AS 37, chapter number 5. Ind AS 37, chapter number 5. For the first 10 to 12 days, I will take only those Ind AS which you actually know from CA Inter. Means first I will make you comfortable in class. Because why I want to make you comfortable? That is required in account subject. Because only the account is the subject where you have learned accounts from various faculties. And you have changed a lot of faculties. Means can I say first in class, means your commerce, your account started from class 11. What do you say? Class 11 you only say? Or you may say intermediate, whatever you say. Correct now? So class 11 accounts, the teacher may be different. Then class 12 teacher may change. Then CA foundation, another teacher. And CA foundation, if you have taken classes 2 times, so number of teacher will increase. Then CA inter, it might happen accounting, advanced accounting, 2 different teacher. It might happen. Group 1 you have taken from one institute, group 2 you have taken from other institute. Quite possible. So it becomes 5 teacher. So it means already you have learned accounts from 5 different teachers. Now I am the next one. And can I say every teacher have a different style of teaching. So only in accounts, it might happen you are not comfortable with me initial. Might happen. You are not comfortable with me. I always say, you might be not in a comfortable position because my style of teaching is totally different. Totally different. And you may be frustrated in first days. Topic. I am on. One definition, I take 1 hour. Means if I will say definition of property, plant and equipment, I will take 1 hour only in definition. Other teacher will take 10 minutes. Understood? If I will discuss so many points, so it might happen you are not in a company, but only for few days. Once you are adapted with me, start liking. Correct? So I am just giving you time. Therefore, I started with Ind AS 37 because it wasn't same as 20. 90% same. And you know AS 29? No, you don't know. No, you don't know. AS 29, of course you have done. Provision, contingent liabilities and contingent asset. Very simple chapter, AS 29. I hope everyone knows, no doubt about this. Anyone who don't know, yeah, have not studied AS 29? Have studied but have not understood? Studied but not understood. Forgotten to always forget our friend only, close friend. If we'll not be in touch for 1 year, we'll forget them. Means I don't remember my school. I forgotten the name. Then one day WhatsApp group was created for the person who has slapped me. Happens now. We forget. We are born to forget. We are born to forget na. अरे बोलना रे. Forgetting does not mean you don't know. You will be able to understand when I will say some points. But have you done or not? That time you have understood? Okay. So because you know this chapter, can I say, and it is 90% similar to what AS29 is Ind AS 37 and AS29 is more or less same. More or less, only 5 to 6 points is difference. So can I say I can do only the difference? Yes, sir. And you will be able to understand. Means you can see this so many points. So many points. Oh my God. Oh my God. And last my difference is there. How many difference point? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 point. If I do 4 point over. But I will not do that. Means I will assume that you don't know. Don't know anything. I need to also assume that only. Correct? But because you said you know, can I ask some question before I start? Because I need to understand how much you know. Because of if I am able to understand how much you know, I can teach according to you. I can teach according to you. Can I ask some few questions from you? Last day I have asked one question. What is real account? Have you asked Google Baba? Have you asked any other person? Your seniors, what is real account? Bolo. Can I ask some question? The first question is that what is the difference between provision and contingent? First question is this. Second question is that whether provisions are liability. Second question. Third question is that whether contingent liabilities are liabilities. I am not asking any question related to C final. I will ask any question related to foundation or CA inter. Correct? So can anyone answer? First question, what is the difference between provision and contingent liability? You are not supposed to read whatever is given in the books. Please. Anyone? What is the difference between provision and contingent liability? One answer I got, provision is probable. One answer I got, provision is probable, contingent liability is possible. So I will ask you, what is the difference between probable and possible? Now, raise your hand and say, because I will not be able to understand what your emotions then. Raise your hand if you want to participate. Anyone who is raising hand, I will ask them only. Means you are saying provision is certain. First answer, and in every batch, this is the first answer I got. Every batch, believe me. Means we all are same. All are same. The first answer which I got is provisions are certain and contingent liability may or may not happen. Provision are certain. Correct now? Provision are certain. Totally wrong. How provisions may be certain? If it is certain, then it become a pure liability. Then I will ask, what is the difference between liability and provision? I hope you all know that provision is based on conservatism principle. Provision is not certain. Provision is not certain. And if it is certain, then estimation is not required. And provision are always estimated. It is an accounting estimate. That is not correct. Anyone want to add something? One answer I got, possible means more likely to not happen. Very good. Probable means more likely to happen. Very good. One thing is clear, that you know exactly what to word. But I want the definition of provision. Anyone? Good. Anyone? Provision? Means, are you able to understand whatever I want to say, that whatever you have done in CA Inte, actually you have not done anything? You have done AS29, but actually you don't know what is the meaning of provision because of lack of conceptual knowledge. You have done AS29, you have revised many times from examination point of view, but you have only done question what is asked in previous exam, and that question repeated, you pass CA Inter. Means if you are not able to say me the exact meaning of provision, means something is lacking. Something is lacking. Second question, whether provision is a liability? Yes or no? Raise your hand. So someone is saying no. Anyone is saying yes? Provision is a liability? Once again, I will say some doubt is there. Some doubt is there. So someone is saying provision is not a liability. But you write in balance, you write down provision in the liability side. Negative asset. So why you are writing in the liability side? Negative asset does not mean it is a liability. So you are saying provision is not a liability. So I got one answer, provision is not a liability, but while preparing the balance sheet in CA Inter, you used to write down provision in the liability side. Why you used to write down in liability side? That time why you have not asked your teacher, sir, why provision is written in the liability side? Because of rectification. Your teacher say it will come here, maja aa raha hai. Even though you know provision is not a liability. Lack of conceptual knowledge. Difference between CA and accountant. Understood? Anyone is saying provision is a liability? You are saying provision liability, why? Known liability. Which will occur? Future time. Surely occurred means certain. Means provision is certain. I already said provision is not certain. Yeah. No, I don't want example. Example I don't want. I want meaning. If I will ask what is an asset, you will say the building is an asset. I don't want example. Example the only you have done. That I know. But I want, when you will consider that example to be a provision, for that you need to apply the definition. Are you getting? The example which you know, you can say, but if I will give you some example, then you need to apply the definition only now. That is rectification. You know only those examples which is given by your faculty. But in CA exam, that example may not be asked. Some other example will be asked. Means once again, that second question you don't know. Correct? But can I say, because you are writing provision in the liability side, from that you can say provision is a liability. Provision is a liability. Right now I will only ask. You are not supposed to ask any doubt. Doubt I will say you. You want to answer something? Yet to be occurred. Provision is yet to be occurred. So what is contingent liability? Next question. I am getting very good answer from live student. I am very much happy. Google? Had nalayak. They are not using Google. My student never use Google, Baba. Cool. What is contingent liability then? Yet to occur. So contingent liability is not to occur? Yet to occur, may or may not occur. Both are same or different? Is this? Yeah. Understood. What you have done at CA Inter? Whatever your teacher says, you have written and you have done rectification. No application. But in my class, you apply your common sense. You need to apply your common sense. If you are not applying, I will force you to apply your common sense. I will force you. Don't worry. I will change the entire learning process. I will change the entire learning process. So the next question was whether contingent liability is a liability. Whether contingent liability is a liability. Now you have understood by applying common sense, because contingent liability is not written in the liability side of balance sheet. From that you can say, so apply your common sense. Whenever somebody is asking question or even you don't know, you can say correct answer by applying your common sense. Correct now? You can say, because you know whatever you have done in CA, the contingent liability is never written in the liability side of balance sheet. Why? Because it is not a liability. But why it is not a liability? That we need to understand. Why it is not a liability? That we need to understand. Now provision is a liability. So one more question will arise, whether provision for doubtful debt is a liability. I said provision is a liability. Arey bolna rahe. I said, you have not said. I said provision is a liability. Correct. But one doubt will arise, whether provision for doubtful debt, you have done provision for doubtful debt, maja aata tha, debtor plus provision for doubtful debt. Whether provision for doubtful debt is a liability. Yes or no? Yes or no? थोड़ा जोर से. Nalayak. Now you are once again not applying your common sense. Provision for doubtful debt you have never written in the liability side of balance sheet. Nalayak. Mahanalayak. 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 I said apply your word. Common sense. Have you written provision for doubtful debt in the liability side of balance sheet? Never. It is deducted from what? Debtor. Means provision for doubtful debt is not a liability. Now one doubt will arise whether provision for doubtful debt is a provision. I said provision is a liability. Arey bolna. When I am saying it is correct only. Arey bolna re. Now I am saying provision for doubtful debt is not a liability. It means now one question arises whether provision for doubtful debt is a provision. Arey bolna. This doubt will arise or not? All answer you will only give after my explanation. Let us do CA Inter. Let us come to CA. Let us come to CA Inter. Understood? I will not start right now CA Final. I will start what CA Inter. Once you become adapted to me, then dhire dhire I will increase my level. Dhire dhire I will increase my level of which will be for CA Final. Correct? Now, have you done AS4? What is AS4? AS4 I hope everyone has done. Correct? Contingencies and events occurring after what? Balance sheet date. Means this AS4 is actually having two parts. You can see contingencies and event occurring after balance sheet. In CA Inter, I don't know what your teacher has done, but normally a teacher will teach only this part in AS4. They will not do anything about contingencies, because with the introduction of AS29, contingencies is now dealt as per AS29. Understood? Means initially it was covered under AS4, but once AS29 was introduced, these contingencies will be covered under what? AS29. Correct? But the meaning of contingencies was given where? In AS4 only. Meaning of contingencies is given in AS4. Means can I say contingencies will give rise to provision, contingent liabilities and contingent asset? Can I say in this way? But the meaning of contingencies was not given in. Meaning of contingencies was given where? Have you done the meaning of contingencies? No. यही तो हो गया खराब. You have not done the meaning of contingencies. So let us understand what is the meaning of contingency. Correct? Now, whatever I am writing, you should write down. Contingencies. contingencies. So what is contingencies? Contingencies are conditions or any situations existing on balance sheet date. Balance sheet date. Understood? Any condition or situation existing on balance sheet date. Understood? Outcome of which outcome means the happening condition is existing, but outcome of that condition, which may be either favorable or unfavorable, which may be either favorable or unfavorable. Understood? Means whenever I am saying outcome, it can be favorable or unfavorable. Correct? The outcome of which is not known. We don't know what will be the outcome of that condition. On which date? On balance sheet date. But condition already is existing. I hope you are understanding. Correct? Yes, sir. The outcome favorable or unfavorable, outcome of which is not known. And this outcome is dependent on uncertain future event, on happening or non-happening of uncertain future event. Correct? Yes, sir. So this outcome is dependent on happening or non-happening of what? Uncertain future event. Means future event is uncertain. Correct? Of uncertain future event. Correct? And that future event is not within the control of entity. Entity cannot control that future event. Understood? So the last point, future event is not within the control of entity. Understood? This is the definition of contingencies. Correct? I will repeat once again. Contingencies are any condition or any situation existing on balance sheet date. Outcome of that condition is not known, which may be either favorable or unfavorable. Correct? And that outcome is dependent on happening or non-happening of uncertain future event, which is not within the control of entity. Definition thoda you may relate with some example, but let me give you very basic example of our life. I will not come to the accounting example. I will take some few life example, means student life example. Let me take two example. You will be able to understand entire meaning of contingencies. Correct? So let us create some contingencies in the life of student. Let us create some contingencies in the life of student. Correct now? Means can I say some year before you passed class 12 exam? So there were two students. One was Ram, one was Ravan. You know Ram? You know Ravan? Yes? Correct? You know means I am just saying you know means you can relate with the example. Correct? And they passed which exam? Both have passed 12th exam, 12th board exam. Passed commerce. Because we are commerce student. Anyone from science background? Anyone who have done class 12 from science background? No, na. Okay. Now, so even though you are from science background, you become commerce. Correct, na? Yes, sir. So pass 12 exam. Now, once they pass 12 exam, either they will register for BCom. Have you registered for BCom? मजा आता है? Have you gone to college? You've gone to college only for writing the exam. And either you may opt for only college or you may opt for only chartered accountancy. Correct? So this Ram has opted for what? CA. And suppose he is not doing BCom. Even though doing, he will not care about BCom. But this Ravan was not interested in CA. He opted for what? BCom. You know the syllabus, because if you have written the exam of BCom, so BCom first year, second year, third year, the syllabus is more than CA. The total syllabus of BCom first year, second year, and third year is more than CA. It is more. It might be more. I don't know. It depends upon university to university. I have done from Delhi University. So that time it was more than CA examination, because we have done CA in old syllabus now. So in our BCom, that time we have done international accounting standard, but that time in our CA examination there was no international accounting standard. Correct now? So that depends upon university to university. But syllabus is more or less same, can I say? Syllabus is more or less same. Yes, sir. Correct. So can I say right now, once they have registered for CA or BCom, there is some contingencies in both life. What is the condition existing in Ram's life? Condition is that they have condition in the life of Ram is that, what is the contingencies? What is the contingencies? He has registered for CA examination. Outcome of which is not known. Whether he will become CA or he will not become CA, that is not known. Means the outcome may be favorable or unfavorable. Bolna yes or no? Correct. Which is dependent on uncertain future event that is not within the control of Ram. Can I say right now in the life of Ram there is some contingencies? I want to ask you whether there is any contingencies in the life of Ravan. Yes or no? Yes or no? And in the like, yes. Why? Because he will become graduate without writing exam. Can I say he has registered for BCom? That is a condition existing right now, and the outcome of that registration is not known. Whether he will pass or whether he will not pass, that is not known. He will pass when only he write exam, and that is dependent on uncertain future event. It might happen, some accident happen and he is not able to write exam. Are bolna re? So can I say there is contingencies in both life? Contingencies in both life. Yes, sir. So can I say whether there is any contingencies in the life of Ram? Yes, yes. There is a condition, outcome of which is not known, which is dependent on uncertain future event. Correct. Now let us think from the Ram point of view. But for contingencies, whenever there is contingencies, when you think, should we create provision or contingent liability? That is a point. Now, if I ask Ram, what is the probability? What is the probability of passing the exam? Understood? If I will ask Ram, what is the probability of passing the exam, CA exam, what will be the answer? What will be the answer? In the last day we have calculated it was 7%. 7% out of 100. Are bolna re? Let us make it 10%. Correct. So can you say probability is 10%? Means what is the probability of not passing the exam? Not passing the exam, it is 90%. Correct. Means can I say chances of not becoming CA is more than chances of becoming CA? अरे बोलना. Correct. Understood. Therefore, can I say he should think something for this? He should take appropriate action. He has registered, he will not become CA only because of registration. Can I say to safeguard against future loss, he will take coaching class? And that coaching class is what? Provision. That coaching class is provision. Means right now you are in my classroom because you have some fear about FR subject. If FR paper was super easy, which is actually super easy, but because some impression is created in the mind of your from negative people that FI is complicated, because of that we are earning. So we thank to all those negative people. Are bolo yes or no? Correct. So it means because of this condition, this Ram need to take some action. That action is that they need to think about the future losses, and whenever we think about future losses, we provide that losses right now. And for that, for safeguarding against that loss, he will take some coaching class. So can I say a provision is required? Provision is required. Bolo, provision in the life of Ram. This is not accounting example, but just I am relating with the life example. Correct? So can I say provision is required, coaching is required, coaching is required. But now let us come to Ravan. Let us come to Ravan. If I ask Ravan what is the probability of passing BCom exam, if they appear in the exam hall, what is the probability? 100%? Chalo, 90%? They will write something, even though they write only questions, sometimes they pass. Correct now? So can I say passing percentage here is 90% and not passing is 10%. But right now whether any coaching is required, I have never seen any BCom student taking coaching class until unless the situation is reverse. Means BCom student may take coaching class if they have something reverse situation right now. Means provision is required in the Ram case, provision is not required in Ravan case. But both have contingencies in their life. Both have contingencies in their life. Bolo yes or no? So can I say in this coaching is not required. I hope you are understanding whatever I am saying. Means can I say provision result from contingencies? Provision result from contingencies? Are bolna? Correct. What is the meaning of contingencies? Can you repeat with me? Contingencies are condition or situation existing on balance sheet date, outcome of which is not known, which is dependent on uncertain future event, and that is not within the control of entities. Super. Correct? Super. Let me take one more example. Now you will react. I will not say what need to be done. You will say what need to be done. I'll take one more example from your life. Suppose your attempt is suppose May 22. Let us take May 22. And you are ready for exam, fully prepared. FR paper 1, you are targeting 90 plus and you are fully satisfied with your preparation. You are confident that you will score 90 plus. That situation will arise in your life. Okay? Now today is the date of exam and this is your home. You are ready for what? Exam. Correct? And you started means you are ready and now you have started you have left your home to reach what? Exam hall. Correct? And suppose this is the exam hall. And let us assume the distance is 1 kilometer. And I will put some condition to implement this example that you will go by walking only. Walking. Understood? It means you do not have any private transport facility. No public transport is available. There is no public transport is available. You don't have friends also. Correct? And you cannot make friend also. You can't ask for lift. And this means you'll go by walking only. So this is one assumption I am taking. So you are ready for what exam hall? Suddenly what you have observed, that there is a black cloud. No, black cloud? Cloud. Black cloud. Understood? Correct. Now, if the rain fall, right now rain has not started, only cloud is there, okay? Rain has not started. If the rain started, so he may not write exam because he will go only by what? Walking. There is a chances of rain, correct? Now, what happened? Because he have observed black cloud and he was a smart boy or a smart girl having a smartphone, therefore search Google Baba and he has the weather report of today, and from that weather report he says that there is a high chances of rain. There is a high chance of rain before leaving the home. Till now he has not left home. So can you say now there is a condition existing in his life? Black cloud. Bolna re. That is the condition existing on a particular day. Outcome of which is not known. Whether rain will come or will not come, that is not known. Which is dependent on future uncertain event, that is not within the control of this student. Contingencies exist or not. I am relating with your life. Means in life also contingencies exist, and entire accounting treatment is based on life example. Entire accounting principle is based on our life example. What you do in your life, that is accounting treatment. Now, from Google Baba, the chance of rain is high. My question is to you, what he will do? Huh? He will take umbrella or he will use umbrella? So it means he has created what? Provision. But that umbrella will be used only when rainfall. Means when you created provision, it does not mean you are using that provision. Provision will be used only when loss actually occur. Understood? But there is a contingencies or not? And as per the contingency, the chances of rain is high. Therefore, he will take some action. And action is what? He will take umbrella with him, or he can take a raincoat. Understood? But he will not use that umbrella right now. That umbrella will be used only when rain fall. Understood? That only you will do. This is nothing but provision. We have kept provision. You said the profit is kept aside. Provision is nothing but we have kept aside some profit from SOPL to use that profit in future, to safeguard against future losses. Understood? Now I am just changing the example. Correct. Now same situation, same student, same black cloud, but with black cloud, wind is also flowing. Wind is also flowing. Understood? It might happen due to wind, the cloud may shifted to some other, means from Hyderabad it may be shifted to Secunderabad. Quite possible now. Now the situation is there is a black cloud with flow of winds. Now once again he will ask Google Baba, search weather report, and now what Google Baba says, that chances of rain is not high due to winds. Quite possible. Understood? Chances of rain is not high means it is not probable. It is not probable. Understood? Now it is always better to create provision. Can I say it is always better to take umbrella in this situation also? Means if this person is creating provision, you can't say why you are creating provision. But it might happen this student have decided not to take umbrella because chances are very less. Chances are very less. But can I say when he is not taking umbrella, he will inform his parent that I am going without umbrella, please save me if the rain fall. Close the information to the user of financial statement. Understood? Means when you are not creating provision, then disclose that information to your parent. He may come to save you. That is, disclose the information as contingent liability. So when you are not creating provision, disclose the fact to the user. Contingent liability means, can is both provision and contingent liability arises from what? Contingencies. अरे बोलना रे. This is contingency. Means provision and contingencies arises from same contingencies but different in definition. There is some difference in definition that we need to correct. Have you understood contingencies? Right now I am in CA Inter. I am just informing what need to be done in CA Inter, what was not done. Because of that reason you are not able to answer in CA Final. So can you repeat once again with me? What is the meaning of contingencies? Contingencies are condition or situation existing on balance sheet date, the outcome of which is not known, which is dependent on uncertain future event, which is not within the control of entity. We'll take a break of 10 minutes. कहाँ माइक माइक चेंज कर. हेलो. हेलो. Can we start 1 second, everyone? Yeah. So before break, we have discussed contingencies. Contingencies means any condition, outcome of which is not known. Now the question arises: outcome can be favorable or unfavorable. Means can I say different accounting treatment will apply when the outcome may be favorable or when the outcome is unfavorable. Means we need to identify whether the outcome will be favorable or unfavorable. Accounting treatment will be based on that. Means if I come to outcome right now, just try to understand outcome. Outcome, which outcome? Outcome from the condition existing on balance sheet date. Means can I say this outcome is arising from what? From past events. Event has already occurred. Because of that event which is already occurred, there is some condition existing on balance sheet date. The outcome arising from past event. This outcome can be either favorable or it can be unfavorable. Means can I say it cannot be both. Either it will be favorable or unfavorable. Are you able to understand this point? Can I say when I am saying favorable means expected income again. When I am saying outcome is favorable, so it will be either expected income or gain. Income include gain. When I say income, now income always include gain. Similarly, expense include loss. But from your bachpan means CPT, they said expense and losses. Therefore, I am also saying expense and losses. But as per definition, income will include and expense will include loss. Understood whatever I am saying? Yes, sir. Means can I say when I am saying favorable, so it means expected income, and when I am saying unfavorable, it means expected losses, or better I write down expected expenses, because expenses will include loss. Understood this point? Now you have done one principle, conservatism principle. What conservatism principle says? Provide for all anticipated losses and expenses. That only you have done. And do not do not recognize any anticipated income or gain. Anticipated means what? You have said anticipated means you have given more emphasis to the word anticipated. What do you mean by anticipated? Probable. Probable means expected, can I say? The chances of which is more than 50%, means chances are higher. Chances are higher. Correct? Means as per conservatism principle, we should not recognize any expected income. And as per conservatism principle, we should not recognize any we should recognize only expected expenses or losses. Correct? My question to you all, which expected expenses and losses? All expected expenses and losses, or only a particular expected expenses and losses? All expected expenses and losses? Bolo yes or no? Everyone correct? Let me take one example. You say should we recognize or should we not recognize? Understood? Let me understand whether you have understood the meaning of conservatism or not. If you have not understood the meaning of conservatism, so first I need to explain the meaning of conservatism. Correct? Yes, sir. My example is what? Just try to understand. Example. Let's suppose this is what one reporting period. And suppose reporting period is 2021 and 22. And suppose we have taken a building on rent. So we have taken a building on a rent. Understood? Yes, sir. And the rent is 1 lakh per annum. 1 lakh per annum. Correct? Understood? So of course this 1 lakh is an expense, and this should be recognized in this particular year. But can I say on balance sheet date, we know that we will also pay rent in next year, because we are a going concern. So we will pay rent in next year also, the expected rent expense. Are you able to understand? Are you getting? Correct? Yes, sir. So can you say for 2022 and 23, we need to pay 1 lakh rent again per annum. So can you say on balance sheet date, there is an expected rent which we need to pay because we are going concern. If the financial statement is silent, always we assume that we are following going concern. You know about going concern, correct? I am not asking what is the meaning of going concern. So expected rent of 1 lakh. The question is that should we recognize this rent expense in the year 2021 and 22? Did all expected expense should be recognized? Right now you said now all expected expenses has been recognized, means your answer was not correct. Difference between CA and non-CA. Understood? Whatever you say, think and say. Without thinking, don't say in my class. Understood? Means all expected expenses are not recognized. Can I say this is also one expected expenses, but this is due to future event. And we are thinking about expected expenses arising from what? Oh, acha. Ye baat. Everything is written, but you are not applying. Correct? I have already said arising from past event, means in bachpan you have done the definition of conservatism and your teacher said all expected expenses should be recognized. Maha bakwas definition. But CA found चलता. अरे बोल ना रे. Can I, that definition was not correct. I should say in this way all expected expenses arising from past event which are probable should be recognized. Should be recognized means, can I say this entire accounting treatment is based on conservatism principle? Whatever we have done in CA foundation, whatever we have done in CA foundation means actually we are applying the principle whatever we have done at CA foundation level, correct? So can I say this is totally based on conservatism principle, correct? Now if you want to correct the definition, you can write down we should recognize expected expenses arising from past event, already written, arising from past event. Now you all know that if there is an expected income arising from past event, will not recognize it, should not be recognized, should not be recognized. And this expected income are known as contingent asset. Oh, अच्छा, ये बात. Oh, this expected income are known as contingent asset. Means we all know that contingent assets should not be recognized, only require disclosure. This much you know. Contingent asset we don't recognize, only require disclosure as per AS 29. That only you have done. Right now I am teaching you AS 29. I am not teaching you Ind AS 37. Till now I have not entered into CA final. Understood? And if there is an expected, means if there is an unfavorable situation, expected expenses, then can I say we should fulfill some condition? Means if the condition is that, that if it is probable, if the expected expenses are probable means chances are more than 50%, higher chances more than 50%. So when I am saying probable means it is more than 50%. I hope you are getting me, correct? It means it is more than 50%. And with that, one more condition has been attached, that amount can be estimated. Can I say if the amount cannot be estimated, we cannot pass journal entry, means we cannot recognize provision. So amount require fair estimation. How to estimate, that we'll discuss, nothing to worry, correct? And probable, an amount can be estimated. Means if amount cannot be reliably estimated, even though it is probable, will not recognize provision. Will not recognize provision. Are you getting me? Yes, sir. So amount can be estimated, correct? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So it means, can I say we should provide such expenses? Can I write down we should provide such expenses? Provide means recognize. Provide for such expenses, correct? So I better write down recognize. Recognize such expenses. Understood? As per conservatism principle. And in other case means what? Means either it is not probable or amount cannot be estimated, or both. Means it is not probable as well as amount cannot be estimated, or it is neither probable or nor amount can be estimated. Then in that case we'll disclose the fact, the user of financial statement as contingent liability, means disclose the fact. Disclosure is required. Are you getting whatever I am saying? Yes, sir. So in other case, disclosure is required. Disclosure is required. Correct? Understood? Have you understood? I think a better picture is right now in your mind. Now whatever I will ask, you will be able to answer. Whatever I will ask, you will be able to answer if you have this picture in your mind. So can I say, first you need to find out what can be the outcome. Outcome can be favorable, unfavorable, favorable, do not recognize, unfavorable. You need to find out whether it is probable and amount can be estimated. If yes, recognize. If no, disclose. Means one thing is clear, the entire AS29 is based on contingencies definition, and that you have missed in your CA Inter. Now I don't know what you have done at CA Inter. Only definition, rectification, that also you have not understood that time. I know what you have done. I know your entire nerves. What you know, what you don't know, I know. Because I have also done CA Inter, na? Correct? Now, coming till now, I have not completed. Till now, I have not completed. Now, when I am saying expected expenses, which is arising from past event, okay? When I am now writing expected expenses, include losses, correct? Arising from, better write down. This is a very key word. Past event. Means the condition must be available on balance sheet date. Arising from past event. You are, whatever I am writing, you are also writing in your notebook. Write down in your notebook. Correct? Because if you write down in India's Saran's book, then you don't know how much notes I am going to give. Correct? Now, can I say expected expenses can be due to two reasons? What can be the possible reason? One is due to decline in the value of what? Value of assets. Bolo yes or no? Decline in the value of assets. Correct? One is decline in the value of asset and one is increase in the value of liabilities. Means this can be two possible reasons. Whatever expected expenses losses due to past event, either that will be due to decline in the value of asset or increase in the value of liability. Correct? I hope you are getting me. So when I am saying decline in the value of asset, any asset, it can be inventory, it can be property, it can be plant, it can be equipment, it can be computer, it can be receivable debtor. Asset means any asset. You know many examples of asset, even though you don't know the meaning of asset. Right? Today class is very interesting. Thank you very much. I'm interesting person. Decline in the value of asset. Asset, whenever I am saying all asset will come into this category. Can you give me any example for decline in the value of asset which is covered in this topic? Decline in the, I have not said asset. Can you give me the example for the decline in the value of asset? Bad debt. Very good. But which bad debt? Expected or actual? Expected. To say the full. Expected bad debt means, can I say whatever provision for doubtful debt you have created, that is because of decline in the value of receivable, so that will come in this category. My question to you all, decline in the value of debtor, whether it will give any rise, whether it will give rise to obligation, whether it will give rise to liability. It means decline in the value of debtor is not a liability. Understood? It is only an adjustment to asset. It is an adjustment to asset. Means, can I say whenever I am saying decline in the value of asset, there is no obligation to pay in future. There is no obligation to pay. If there is no obligation to pay, it is not a liability. It is a mere adjustment to asset. It is a mere adjustment to asset. Understanding whatever I am saying? Means liability means obligation to pay, and there is no obligation to pay, so it is not a liability. It means provision for doubtful debt is not a liability. Provision for doubtful debt is not a liability. Understood whatever I am saying? Correct. So it means, can I say when I am saying decline in the value of asset, no obligation arises. No obligation arises. When I am saying obligation, obligation means outflow of cash or any resource. Outflow means it will give rise to outflow of any cash a resource in future? Yes, sir. Correct. When I am saying no obligation arises, it means what? There is no outflow, no outflow of cash or any other asset. No outflow of cash or any other asset. Therefore, these are not liabilities. These are not liabilities. Therefore, these are only considered as an adjustment to assets. Adjustment to asset. Understood? They are only adjustment to asset. So it means whenever you are recognizing any expenses, expected expenses arising from past event which is decline in the value of asset, you are not recognizing any liability. Oh, am I right or not? You are not recognizing any liability. Correct? Means I think in Bachpan में CA inter में you have done provision for decline in the value of investment as per AS 13. Provision for decline in the value of investment you have done. Long term investment, permanent decline. You have done or not? So that provision for decline in the value of investment is a adjustment to asset. That is not a liability. That is not a liability. Similarly, provision for doubtful debt is an adjustment to asset, but it is not a liability. It is not a liability. Means when I am saying increase in the value of liabilities, so of course these are liability. So when I am saying increase in the value of liability, so it will give rise to obligation. Obligation arises. Obligation arises. Correct. Obligation arises means there is some outflow of resource. It will give rise to outflow of cash or any other asset. Cash or any other asset means, can I say it will give rise to liabilities? Means for this case will create provision or contingent liability depending upon the circumstances. Depending upon circumstances as per AS 29. Means can I say this is not covered under AS 29 and this is covered under AS 29? Bolo yes or no? Means provision which are covered under AS 29 are liability as per AS 29. If you have done the definition of provision as per AS 29, AS 29 says provisions are liability. Provisions are liability. Therefore, it is written in the liability side of balance sheet. Understood whatever I am saying? So either we will create provision, recognize provision, or will disclose contingent liability as per the facts and circumstances existing. Correct? Understood? So contingent liability. Contingent liability. And for this, what is covered? It is covered under AS 29, means this part is covered under AS 29. Or can I say Ind AS 37? Now Ind AS 37 coming soon in your life. Ind AS 37, AS 29 is past tense, Ind AS 37 is future tense. पढ़ना है ना, we study Ind AS 37. Understood? But can I say this is not covered? This part, the first part is not covered under AS 29. Means provision for doubtful debt is not covered under AS 29. Therefore, provision for doubtful debt is not a liability. Therefore, can I say provision for doubtful debt is not a correct term? It is a Mahabakwas name which we are using from our traditional days. But now we have entered into modern era. We should change the name. So now provision for doubtful debt is not known as provision for doubtful debt. Understood whatever I am saying? Because provision for doubtful debt is not a provision. Because provision is liability and provision for doubtful debt is not a liability. It means provision for doubtful debt is not a correct term. Understood? So if somebody asks you provision for doubtful debt is a provision, what you will say? No, it is not a provision. It is not a provision. But can you say both are expected losses recognized based on conservatism principle? Means we are applying conservatism principle for both part. Correct? But for the first part, AS29 not covered under AS29 or Ind AS 37. Now one doubt will arise, which Ind AS will be applicable or which accounting standard is applicable. That doubt will arise. The decline in the value of asset is covered under which accounting standard or which Ind accounting standard. Now let us understand depending upon the classification of asset. So we know various assets. First is inventory. Inventory was covered under which accounting standard? AS2 means you have done cost price or NRB, whichever is lower. That is based on conservatism principle only. Decline in the value of asset you have already recognized as per AS2. To live students, sometime I say like this is silent mode, or because of that reason you are saying the voice is stacking. Actually sometime I remain silent. Okay, actually live student is asking, sir, why your voice is stacking? Understood. Now I understood why you are asking voice is stacking. I remain silent sometime. Okay, because when I remain silent you will think what I am saying. Correct? So inventory, can I say AS2 already you have done cost price or NRB which is lower, that is based on conservatism principle, and that loss already you have recognized as per accounting standard 2. So can I say this inventory, this loss is covered under AS2 or Ind AS2? Only this number is same for AS and Ind AS. AS2, Ind AS2. Correct? Understood? Now, for property, plant and equipment, have you recognized decline in the value of asset? For property, plant and equipment. Impairment, very good. Impairment. As per which accounting standard? AS28. But AS28 is not in your syllabus. CA interment nahi tha. How do you know about a impairment? Very good. Excellent. 10, AS10, yeah, also AS26, reference is given. Very good, excellent. Now you started thinking like CA. Thank you very much. So can you say property, plant and equipment, this loss is recognized as per AS28, that is known as impairment of asset. Impairment of asset, impairment loss. So already this decline will be recognized as per AS28, which was not covered, it is covered under CA inter syllabus. Correct? And in this will apply in AS36. In AS36. Correct? Similarly, we have intangible asset. IA means intangible asset. Okay? If you want to write down full. IA means intangible asset. Correct? Then is the same thing. Decline in the value of intangible asset is covered under AS28 and in AS36. Correct? Similarly, investment property. IP means what? Investment property. IP means investment property. This was covered under AS13. AS13 and Ind AS 36. Ind AS, it will be Ind AS 36. Means I am just giving a reference so that you can understand that this decline is also recognized, but as per respective Ind AS, not as per AS 29 or Ind AS 37. Means we are recognizing such losses due to conservatism principle, but this should not be considered as provision because provisions are liability. Understood? Correct. And if I say the last, receivable, you have created provision for doubtful debt as per which accounting standard? Provision for doubtful debt as per which accounting standard? You have created provision for doubtful debt? You have created provision for doubtful debt? Yes, you have created, many times you have created. As per which accounting standard? As per which accounting standard? No. Can I say there is no specific accounting standard? So AS4 contingencies part will be applicable. So it means provision for doubtful debt is covered, was created due to contingencies given under what? AS4. It was not covered under AS29. which actually you were not knowing. You were not knowing. If in examination questions come, you have written as per AS 29 and 0 marks. In examination question is asked for provision for doubtful debt. And if you have written as per AS 29, we have created provision for doubtful debt, big anda, and you will blame ICI. Because you have written as per AS 29. Wrong answer, na? Correct, na? Understood? Yes, sir. So this is based on AS4 and here in AS 109 coming soon in your life. And this all losses is known as what? Impairment loss. Now it is known as impairment loss. So we'll call it impairment loss for such asset. Understood? Now what will be the accounting treatment that will be done in respective Ind AS? We are not going to discuss, but you have understood that for receivable, provision for doubtful debt is not correct term. Is not correct term. Anyone has prepared financial statement based on Ind AS? Anyone has prepared financial statement based on Ind AS? Have you observed financial statement based on Ind AS? You have. So have you seen there what? Any adjustment to debtor? You have not seen. Okay. Now you need to see. So just try to understand, you are in CA final. So it becomes your duty to observe the financial statement based on Ind AS. Have you? Can you see the financial statement of Reliance Industry? You can download from Google Baba. Everything is in Google Baba. Just download it and go through it. Even though you have not completed FR, you need to have an idea what is going on in the practical life. Understood? What is your homework for today? Download financial statement of any listed company. Just go through it. Just go through it. And whatever you have understood, nothing to do. Whatever you have not understood, give red mark. That entire point, whatever you have not understood, will be covered in my class. So what is your homework for today? Download any financial statement of any listed company apart from banking company, NBFC and insurance company. That you don't download. Correct? And then read it. Read it. Whatever you have understood, okay. Whatever you have not understood, just give star mark. Understood? Correct. So you will find out there is some account which is used for this particular thing, provision for doubtful debt. Now it is known as what? Now it is known as expected credit losses. Now it is known as expected credit losses or allowance for bad or doubtful debt. So we will not use the word provision, we will use the word allowance. Correct? So now it is known as either impairment loss or allowance for bad and doubtful debt or expected credit losses. All things we'll do in our classes. Right now I'm just giving the information to you what is going to change in your life. Correct? Yes, sir. Understood? Have you understood this much? Means whenever I say provision means AS 29 or Ind AS 37. It is not covered in other Ind AS then. So provisions are liability, but these are not liability. Correct? Of course, contingent liability is not liability because it will not satisfy the definition of liability. We need to understand the meaning of liability is also. Correct? So now can we come to CA final? This was for CA Inter. Up to this much I do in CA Inter class also. My CA Inter student, if anyone is my CA Inter student? No one. Who are my CA Inter student? This I have done in class. Everything. All are same. Means I teach this thing also in CA Inter class. And that is required. But not asked in exam. Because of that reason. Because I am not teaching from examination point of view. चलो ठीक है, मजा आता है. everything is okay, the first thing we should become chartered accountant. Also our object, pass CA, but don't earn. It is, I always think that if you become CA and if you are not able to you are not able to earn as per the capability of CA, you are actually not. And suppose you are rejected in any interview. That's one thing. Become chartered accountant. You passed one of the difficult examination as per Google Baba. Means if you search in Google Baba which is the toughest course in India, so after civil service examination, CA might come. One of the toughest course is civil service examination, IAS, IPS. After that CA का नाम आ जाता है, CA examination. Means कहने से one of the toughest course you will pass means you are more than exceptional. Means you are not normal, you are sorry. Correct now. Means what I want to say, you are extra, matlab super, and you become chartered accountant. My question to you all: company has a right to reject you. You are a chartered accountant. Whether any company has a right to reject you? Are bolna you pass a difficult examination. Whether you should give any company a chance to reject you, or you should reject company. You should reject na. I will not join ja. Are bolna re. Means you should take interview of company whether I can give something to you or not. But reason is that many chartered accountant are rejected in interview. This is an insult to chartered accountant. From my point of view, they should not select you. I will come find you, and they should say welcome, come. And if you are giving a right to them, what is the use of doing toughest course? I hope you are understanding whatever I am saying. Correct? This much you understand. Can I ask one question to know whether you have understood or not? My question to you all: listen, think, and say. Take your time. I am not in hurry. Correct? Provision for depreciation. You know provision for depreciation? Everyone know provision for depreciation? Anyone who don't know this account provision for depreciation, I think in foundation also you have prepared provision for depreciation account. Pakka? Now provision for depreciation will fall in first category or second category? Jaldi answer. I said think. I'm not in hurry. Provision for depreciation will come in first or second category? Follow. Now raise your hand and you can say. How many were seeing first category? How many are seeing second category? So those who are not raising hand, what do you want to say? It will come in first or second? You need to answer even you don't know, okay? Arey, what is this? Simple question I have asked. Provision for, you know provision for depreciation? Follow yes or no? इतना क्वेश्चन मत पूछो. Don't ask this much question. You will die. But in exam also, I am just a chance that even you don't know, you be in a habit to answer. Might happen you are giving correct answer. How many are saying first category? Everyone need to raise your hand. Huh? So, how many are saying second category? First category how much? Second category? So how many are saying neither first nor second? neither first nor second. It will not come in this category. It will come in either this or this. Okay, there are four options. You are from CPT category, na? Pakka CPT category. First category, second category, neither in first nor in second, either in first or in second. So how many are saying neither in first nor in second? Means it will not come in both category. Can you say why? Depreciation is created, decrease in the value of asset. 100% correct. 100% means those everyone who is saying neither this nor this, I don't know what was the reason behind this, but if this was the reason, 100% correct. Beautiful. You are chartered accountant from my point of view. Correct. One chocolate from my side. Write down in your books of account. Pass one journal entry for receiving of chocolate. Correct. At the end of the batch, we'll do the what? Correct. How much plus, how much minus. Okay. One chocolate from my side. Super. Super. Let's see what they are saying. Neither first, no. Answer is there also. Neither first nor second. But can you say depreciation is not declining the value of asset? If you are saying depreciation is declining the value of asset, it is not declining the value of asset, means you don't know the meaning of depreciation. Depreciation is the systematic allocation of cost price during the useful life of asset. It does not mean decline in the value. Means even though the value of asset is increasing, you need to charge depreciation due to matching concept. Mean depreciation is charged to PL due to matching concept, not because of conservatism. Therefore, it will not fall in this category. Please, can I conclude? Provision for depreciation is not bakwas, maha bakwas terminology. Means provision for doubtful debt, chalo theek hai, because that was due to conservatism and we are providing expenses. Provision for doubtful debt was used. But provision for depreciation, maha bakwas. And from my point of view, if you are preparing finances in your office, you have never used the word provision for depreciation. You have used the term accumulated depreciation. In means no chartered accountant will use the word provision for depreciation because it is totally incorrect term. But I don't know why ICI is using this term for CA foundation, and sometimes this term will be used in a final book. Means ICI also don't know what is correct, what is not correct. Chalo theek hai, but ICI is our godfather. Will always do whatever they are saying. Understood? But can I conclude provision for depreciation is mahabakwas term? The correct term is accumulated depreciation. Correct? Just write down one note. Only for you understand. Depreciation is not a decline in the value of asset. Not a decline in the value of asset. Means even though the value of asset is increasing, we need to charge depreciation. Correct? Means if you have done revaluation of asset under AS10, to any asset which is upward revalued require depreciation. That is due to usage of asset, due to future event, whatever. Correct? So can you say it is systematic allocation of cost during what? Useful life. As per which concept? As per matching concept. Therefore, provision for depreciation not a correct term. Accumulated depreciation should be used. We are using should be understood. Accumulated depreciation should be used instead of provision for depreciation. Very good. Correct. Now let us come to Ind AS 37. Provision, contingent liability and contingent asset. Now can I say you are feeling comfortable because now you have an idea about provision, contingent liabilities and contingent assets. Means whenever I will use provision, you will understand we are discussing about liability. Correct now? So provision, contingent liabilities, contingent asset as per Ind AS 37, corresponding AS is AS 29. Correct? What is the meaning of provision? As per Ind AS 37, now whatever we are doing as per Ind AS 37. However, there are minute difference between AS 29 and Ind AS 37. Correct? So provision or liability? Oh, अच्छा, ये बात. Provisions are liability. Correct? Now, question arises, what is the meaning of liability? Because if you know liability, then only you can understand provision. So what is the meaning of liability? That I will not ask from you. I will not ask. Because I know, you know. Correct? What is liability? Obligation to pay. Correct? This is the definition which is given by CA Foundation. At CA Inter, the definition should be done, but you have not done. Correct? Let's see what is the definition of liability. So provision of liability, but all liabilities are not provision. Correct? But all provisions are liability. So provisions are liability of uncertain timing or amount. Either timing of payment is not known, or the amount of payment is not known, or both are not known. Correct? Of uncertain timing or amount. Means amount is known, but when you are supposed to pay, that is not known. Amount is known, what amount will pay, but when to pay, that is not known. That also it will become a provision. Correct? Of uncertain timing or amount. Correct? Means provisions are liability. If you see this chart, of uncertain timing or amount. So if can I say it is uncertain, for recognition it require measurement. Measurement means reliable estimation. Correct? So which require measurement by substantial degree of estimation. Substantial degree of estimation means the estimation should be accurate, means should be best estimate. Correct now? So which require measurement. Now the question arises, how to measure? How to measure? Means the measurement principle will be also given under Ind AS 37, how to measure. Correct? Means whatever measurement principle that will based on Ind AS 37 coming soon. Correct? Once again. Can I conclude provisions are liability of uncertain liability or amount which requires substantial degree of estimation? Means any liability which do not require estimation is actually a pure liability. It is not a provision. For example, rent outstanding. Rent outstanding or rent payable. Rent payable. But the rent payable require any estimation? No, because you know what is the amount of payment. You know when to pay. So even though it is not paid, you are recognizing rent payable due to which concept? Due to which concept? Accrual concept. It requires accrual concept, not conservatism. Not conservatism. So rent payable is a liability. It does not require any estimation. Therefore, it is not a provision. Therefore, it is not a provision. Understood? Yes, sir. Now, what is the meaning of liability? Liability means what? So liability means obligation, but not all obligation. But not all obligation. Only which obligation? Present obligation. Oh, acha, ye baat. Means if you are saying liability means obligation to pay, it is 100% wrong, because all obligation will not give rise to liability. So only which obligation? Present obligation. Now the question is that what is the meaning of present obligation? Present obligation arising from which event? Past event. Of course, we are not discussing anything about future event. Understood? Correct. So present obligation arising from past event. So what is the meaning of present obligation? Simple. Present obligation means those obligations which are probable. Any obligation which is said to be probable on reporting date are present obligation. So present obligation means obligation is probable. Probable means what? Chances of occurrence is more than chances of non-occurrence. Chances of losses are more than chances of what? Gain. Correct? Understood? Yes, sir. So it means chances is less than, more than 50%. More than 50%. Understood? So present obligation means when obligation is said to be probable on reporting date. When obligation is said to be probable on reporting date. When we say probable, probable means more likely than not. I think this term you know from AS 29. AS 29. More likely than not means chances of occurrence is more than non-occurrence. Correct? Present obligation arising from past event which will be settled, which will be future tense, means settlement will be done in future, which will be settled through what? Outflow of resource. Means settlement is required through outflow of resource. Settlement is required through outflow of resource, and this outflow must be also probable. Must be probable. Means the chances of outflow should be more than probable means what? More than 50%. Must be probable. Understood? Correct? So this is the meaning of liability. Liability means what? Present obligation arising from past event which will be settled through outflow of resource, and that outflow of resource should be probable. This is the meaning of liability. Means when I am saying present obligation, just try to understand whatever I am saying. Present obligation means probable, and probable means chances are more than 50%. Can I say it will include 100% also? When I am saying chances are more than 100%, so it will also include certainty also. Therefore, liability, because the liability they have used the word present obligation. Present obligation means probable, probable means more than 50%, so it will also include 100%. When I am saying rent payable, can I say there is no uncertain amount, there is a certain amount. There is a certainty to pay. There is 100% certainty to pay. Means 100% there will be outflow of resource, so therefore it will meet the definition of liability also. Correct? Means for provision there are 3 conditions. For liability there are 2 conditions. For liability there are 2 conditions. This point number 1 and point number 2. There are 2 conditions for liability. First condition is what? There must be present obligation arising from, and outflow of resource must be probable. Outflow of resource must be probable. But for provision, how many conditions? 3 conditions. What are the 3 conditions? First condition, there must be present. Now use the word whatever is given under India. Correct? There must be present obligation arising from past event. Outflow of resource which is required to settle the obligation must be probable, and it requires reliable estimation. Means whenever estimation is required, then liability is known as provision. Liability is known as provision. Means can I say when these 3 conditions is satisfied, recognize provision. Recognize provision. If any one of the condition is not satisfied, provision is not required. Provision is not recognized. Simple. So can you repeat with me, what is the meaning of provision? Provisions are liability with uncertain timing or amount. Liability means what? Present obligation arising from past event which requires settlement, which will be settled through outflow of resource, and that outflow must be probable. What are the 3 conditions for recognition of provision? Let's see. Recognition of provision. If all the conditions are satisfied, recognize provision. If all means if any one condition is not satisfied, will not recognize provision. What is the meaning of recognition? Recognition means record journal entry as per books of account. So when we say recognize means record journal entry. So when we say do not recognize, then will not pass any journal entry. Understood? Correct. For disclosure, we don't pass any journal entry, na? Only for recognition we pass journal entry. So whenever we say recognition means record. Correct. So when all the three conditions satisfied, point number 1, 2, 3 already we have said, there must be present obligation arising from past event. Outflow of resource which is required to settle the obligation must be probable. Probable means chances are more than 50%. A reliable estimation can be made for the amount or timing of obligation. How to estimate? Coming soon. Understood? Any doubt? Correct. Means already we have understood that a past event is deemed to give rise to present obligation. A past event is deemed to give rise to present obligation if it is probable. Probable means what? It is more likely than not. More likely than not means what? If chances of occurrence are more than chances of non-occurrence. Simple. Already I have said. Now the question arises, can I say all past event will not give rise to obligation on balance sheet date? I mean there are some past event which are not giving any obligation reporting date, means we are only identifying those past event which is giving obligation. Which obligation? Present obligation. On which date? Reporting date. So that event is known as obligating event. Means for this chapter we need to find out whether there is any obligating event. So obligating event means what? Those past event which give rise to obligation on balance sheet date are known as what? Obligating event. Means for this chapter we need to first find out whether there is an obligating event or not. Obligating event or not. Understood? Understood. Means one thing is clear, that all past event will not give rise to obligation on reporting date. So that is not to be considered for this chapter. Correct. Now, what Ind AS 37 says, this obligation arising from past event. Of course, we are discussing about obligation arising from past event are of two types. One is known as legal obligation, one is known as constructive obligation. Constructive obligation. First time you are listening this term, constructive obligation. Anyone who knows about constructive obligation? You don't know, because AS 29 was silent adding this. This is the first difference between AS 29 and Ind AS 37. AS 29 is silent. AS 29 only says obligation and silent about what? Constructive obligation. But Ind AS 37 says obligation will include both legal obligation and constructive obligation. So let us understand first what is legal obligation. Legal obligation means any obligation which arises due to any contract or any legislation, means any act or any other obligation of law correct? Means it may arise due to contract or any legislation or any other law. Correct? Means when I am saying income tax, so for income tax is also payable due to Income Tax Act. So due to Income Tax Act we have an obligation to pay what? Income tax. So obligation arises that become a legal obligation. So that will be also covered. Correct. Right now we have done one contract. It might not be what documented, but oral contract is also a contract as per Contract Act. Are bolna re? I hope you are understanding. Correct na? So we have done one contract that I will teach and you will pay. So obligation arises with whom? Both the party. I have an obligation to provide services. You have an obligation to pay cash. So in whose books liability will arise? In your book. I have an obligation to provide service. There is no outflow of resource. I have an obligation to provide services. Means to my books, what will not arise? Liability will not arise. But in your books of account, what will arise? Liability will arise. But both have obligation. but you have an obligation to pay cash. Understood? But suppose I have done my contract and I have said that if you are dissatisfied or if you do not pass, which I will never say, if you do not pass in your attempt, I will refund the entire amount. They do this type of contract. I may do that. Many teachers says if you do not pass, how they say, correct now. But suppose if I say like this, if you do not pass, I will refund the amount. So can I say we have done this contract, there is a legal obligation or not, which may arise in future? And chances are high or less? That will depend upon you, your performance. Correct now? So it means there is chances or not. Now I need to only forecast whether chances are high or chances are not high. If chances are high, can I say I should create a provision or not? Are you able to understand? Yes, sir. So can I say legal obligation may be due to contract? Legal obligation may be due to contract also. Bolna. Yes, sir. Correct. Now coming to constructive obligation. Constructive obligation means which arises due to entity's own action. Own action means something I have done. Because of that reason, some obligation arises. For example, right now we have done one contract that I will teach you, you will pay me. And during the classes, I have done one announcement. Announcement I can do. Announcement does not mean a contract because contracts are accepted. I announce, but you may or may not accept. Are bolna re. So announcement does not mean contract. So I have done one announcement that any student who score more than 90, or I will say 90 or more than 90, I refund 50% of fee. The actual announcement. Actual announcement. Because you said your target is 90. So let us give you some motivation. 50%, why? Because I want also 50% because I have also family. I have son. Correct? Okay. Chalega, 50% of fee I will refund. But what is the announcement that if you score 90 or more than 90 in CA final exam conducted by ICI, I will refund 50% of fee. The actual announcement. But can you see it is not a contract? It is not a contract. Now the question is that should I create a provision? Whether I have any obligation to pay? Because you have accepted. I have not seen you. Whether you have accepted, I don't know. You accepted. Now just try to understand. I have announced it. But whether you are accepted or not accepted, that I don't know. Correct now? It means it is not a contract. It is not a contract. My question is that it is not a legal obligation. Should I create a provision? Ind AS 37 says it is a constructive obligation, and yes, you should create a provision for constructive obligation also. If what? Let us understand. If what they say, what they are saying, the constructive obligation derived from entity's own action. It may be due to past practice. It may be due to published policies. It may be due to a specific statement or announcement. Specific statement or announcement. So I have given the example of a specific statement which indicate that entity will accept the responsibility. Of course, can I say if I will not refund the amount, so it deteriorate my goodwill in the market? Because you will say negative about me. Are bolna re? So I will accept my responsibility. Bolna re? Correct na? Of course, I have some goodwill in the market. Yes, sir. And create a valid expectation on the part of other party. Can I just once I have done the announcement, there is some what expectation in your mind? Sir will refund. We need to work hard. Now you may or may not work hard. That is point of view. But right now you have some expectation from me or not. So can I say which indicate that entity will accept the responsibility and created a valid expectation on the part of other party? It means it is a constructive obligation, and Ind AS 37 says that we should create a provision for constructive obligation also. Correct? Means can I say Ind AS 37 is wide in scope because AS 29 was actually not covering constructive obligation because AS 29 was silent about obligation. Understood this point? Now they said it may be due to past practice. Past practice, suppose in the past batches I have refunded the amount. And can I see you come to class after inquiry only? Will not come to class without inquiry. Bolna yes or no? Do you know about the fact that I am refunding the amount? So can I see you have some expectation in your mind even though I have not done the announcement? Are bolna re? In last batches I have refunded. Do you have some expectation from me or not? If you score 90 or more than 90, I will refund 50% of fee. Correct? Or it might happen you have come here by looking into my website, and in website I have mentioned that I refund the amount if you score 90 or more than 90. Even though there is no contract, but I have published policy. So of course if I have a published policy, I should honor it. I should honor it. It means it created a responsibility from my side. Therefore, it will be also a constructive obligation. Constructive obligation means it will include both legal as well as constructive obligation. Means when I say there must be present obligation, this obligation can be either legal or what? Constructive. Or constructive. Understood? I hope you are understanding each and every. Correct. Any doubt, you can raise your hand. You can raise your hand. Understood? Correct? Understood? Yes, sir. Now the question is that if all the three conditions is satisfied, we need to recognize provision. Now let me take one example. CA Inter example I will take. Very popular example. I think your teacher might have given that example. But now whatever answer you are giving, you should give reference with this condition only. You should not say yes, no only. The answer might be known. But why that is an answer, that should be also known. Correct? Let me take one example. Can I take one example? Yes, sir. Example is what? Example 1. Suppose there is one factory and this factory is polluting the environment, and this factory has received, this company has received a notice from state government, to what? Reduce the pollution. Of course, pollution can be reduced, but it cannot be eliminated. Correct now? Means reduce the pollution. Otherwise, we need to shut down the factory. If we are not able to reduce the pollution, we need to shut down the factory. And the time period is given 1 year. Means they need to do some activity for reducing the pollution, and the time period is given for 1 year. If the pollution is not reduced within 1 year, then factory will be. Understood? Right now, suppose the date is what? Suppose the notice we have received on 1st Feb 2021. Quite possible. And now this is 31st March. 31st March. Now till now management has not decided what need to be done. Correct? Means either they need to fit smoke filter, or they need to change the production process. Means right now I am assuming that they have not decided to liquidate, because once they have decided to liquidate, then it become a non-going concern entity. Right now it is a going concern entity only. So either they will fit smoke filter or they will change the production process. Correct? Are you getting what I am saying? Can I say if they change the production process, then there is nothing to do. Correct now? But if they feed smoke filter, then some expenditure is required. Bolla. I hope you are understanding my emotions. Correct now? So change the production process. And right now, management has not decided what to do. They have decided, then the game is over. Correct now. It means there is a contingency arising from past notice, outcome of which is not known, which is dependent on happening or non-happening of decision. Correct now, which is not within the control of entity right now, because till now no decision has been taken by the management. They are just discussing on that. My question to you all, should we create provision? Should we create provision? Yes or no? The example you have done it, C enter level. Then, because I think similar question have been asked in exam also. Fast, I don't have time. How many are saying yes, we should create provision? How many are saying no, we should not do anything? Balance, yes or no, both? Look, when you say yes or no, then doubt will arise. So if I am asking one question, if you are confident, raise your hand like this. If you are doubtful, like this. If you don't know, like. If you are confident, then like this. Doubtful, like this. I say this is doubtful. And don't know, like this. How many of you are boy? What happened? Sleeping mode, nalayak. Why you are not raising? It is genuine question. So I am also raising. What, you don't know? What? What I want to say that if you know, then raise your hand. You should be confident about your answer. Even though you don't know, be confident. Correct? I'm just try to analyze my point. Don't feel bad about this. Correct? Now, what you'll do? Whether you'll create provision or whether you'll not create provision. How many are saying yes, we should recognize provision? We should recognize provision. How many are saying we should not recognize provision? So those who are saying will not recognize provision, can you give explanation? No. From examination point of view, that point is missing. We'll always assume that estimation can be done. Okay, that means give the estimated amount. Correct? Suppose fitting is smart filter 1 crore expenditure is required. Okay. Now okay. Because of that reason, from examination point of view, if that third condition is silent, we'll always assume reliable estimation can be made. Otherwise, though, from examination point of view, we'll never create provision. Correct now? Reliable estimation can be done. We can estimate anything. We can estimate how much marks we'll get. We chartered accountant can estimate anything. We can estimate useful life. Are bolna re? Give me a chance. I can estimate your life also. Give me a chance. I can estimate. Huh? Outcome is known, na? Outcome is not known. Of course, outcome is not known. Because of that is in contingent. Then read shut down. Chalo, or shut down. Okay. Shut down the factory. If they are not able to do anything, then shut down, close down the factory. Means right now, can I say in this what India's 37 says, means one thing is clear that similar question have been asked in CA interlevel. You might be knowing the answer, but you don't know why that answer is. Correct? Now just try to understand. In this, can I say the obligation is dependent on future conduct of business? What they will do in future, whether they will fit smoke filter or they will change the production process or they are doing nothing, they need to shut down. Means can I say here obligation is dependent on future conduct of business, therefore outflow of resource is not probable. Outflow of resource is not probable because if they decided about these changes in the production process, no expenditure is required. It means outflow of resource is not probable. Second condition is not satisfied. Second condition is not satisfied. Provision is not required. Correct? So what Ind AS 37 says, everyone, what Ind AS 37 as well as AS 29 says, only those obligations which exists independently from entities' future conduct of business should be recognized. Only those obligations which exist independently from future conduct of business should be recognized. In other words, I can say in a way, obligations which are dependent on future conduct of business should not be recognized as provision. Why? Because outflow of resource is not probable. One more example I can take, which is also a CA inter example. I hope you might be knowing about this, but intensely I have not taken this example as a first example, because most of the time you give correct answer for this. Asked in CA inter exam, suppose Air India purchase one aeroplane for commercial purpose. Now, as per National Aviation Act, this aeroplane require rehauling expenditure within 3 years. Means from the date of purchase till the expiry of 3 year, means every 3 years it require which expenditure? Rehauling. What is the meaning of rehauling expenditure? Rehauling means major inspection. It is not repair maintenance. It is not routine repair. It requires major inspection. Major inspection of each part. Each part need to be inspected. Why? Because there is a high chances of accident. Correct now? So major inspection need to be done. That is known as rehauling expenditure as per National Aviation Act. So can I say, because Air India is using this for public transportation, they need to incur rehauling expenditure every 3 years, once in every 3 years. This is as per Act. Legal obligation. Legal obligation. I hope you understand. So there is a legal obligation arising from past event. Once they have purchased it and using for commercial purpose, can I say there is a legal obligation arising from past event? The question is that, should we create provision? Should we create provision? Yes, yes, everyone saying yes? Are bolna re? Anyone saying no? Anyone saying no? No, no? 1 second, wrong answer. Just try to understand. This also depend upon future conduct of business. It might happen on expiry of 3 years, they have decided to sell it. They will not reuse it. Just try to understand, this obligation is dependent upon future course of action. Just try to understand this term, whatever I am saying. Can I say, once the 3 years is expired, now rehauling is required, once they are reusing it. If they decided to dispose it, then it is not required by this entity. Are bolna yes or no? It is not required. I will not use it. I will sell it. So it means it is dependent on future conduct of business. Therefore, outflow of resource is not probable. Therefore, provision is not required. Legal obligation is there. First condition satisfied. Second condition not satisfied. All the 3 conditions need to be satisfied. Understood? Have you understood? However, out of the 3 conditions from examination point of view, you need to just check first and second. Estimation always will assume that we can estimate the amount, being a chartered accountant. Understood? Correct? Any doubt? Doubt? Give me example. That was not an accounting example. Please. That was only to understand the basic concept. Correct? You just give me now accounting example. That was live case example, na? That I have taken initially only to give you the concept behind contingencies, so that you are becoming comfortable with the life example. Now you can't relate that example with the practical example related to accounts. Let me take one case. Correct. Now let me take one case. There is one on 31st March already some fraud is done by entity and legal case is pending. Some legal case is pending, for which till now decision is not made by the court. Correct? Now, should we create a provision? But whether there is a present obligation arising from past event? Yes, legal case is pending. Now, whether it is dependent on future conduct of business? No. In any case, if that case is decided against this company, they need to pay compensation. Decided by whom? Whether it can be, whether they can override the requirement of court? No. Even though this company is liquidated, before what? Before decision, then also they need to pay. They need to pay. The actors means this case will not arise. What I am saying, there is an obligation. It is not dependent, means it is independent from future conduct of business. Therefore, provision is required. Therefore, provision is required. You can take any example. Ask me any example. I will give you the case. I'll give you the answer for that. Means, but in these two example, obligation was dependent on future conduct of business or not. Therefore, outflow is not probable. Means it might happen, expenditure is not required. No. That is not. Just try to understand, everyone. This cannot be decided right now. What I am saying right now on 31st March, whether we know whether we will use it or will not use it, we don't know right now. No. That is not a case. Then it become a future event. Right now, due to National Aviation Act, there is a legal obligation that once in every 3 years you need to do re-rolling expenditure. Only once you re-rolling expenditure means if 3 years is expired and you are not using it, whether that expenditure is required, not required. So it means that expenditure, that obligation is dependent on future conduct of business. Try to understand. Understood now? Then though if I will say, I have done some announcement that any student who score 90 or more than 90, I will refund 50% of fee. Can I assume that no one will write exam? Can I assume like this? No one will write exam, therefore no provision is required. That assumption cannot be done. Now, how to do measurement about estimated amount? There is some probabilities there. Whatever you have said, that depends upon how much amount should be provided. How much amount should be provided, that depends upon the measurement principle. Coming soon in your life. Correct now? But in this case, provision is not required. Good out. No, just try to understand. You can sell it. You are a company. I am using this camera. Just try to understand. I am using this camera. And there is a constructive obligation, because there will be no legal obligation for camera. There is a constructive obligation that I will repair it. Should I create a provision? You only say. Because it might happen I decide in future that I will not go for repair. I will purchase new camera. You have a constructive obligation that you have some emotional attachment with this camera because it has been gifted by my wife. I will do repairment. Chalna maan lete hain. But can I say right now it is dependent on future conduct of business. The obligation is based on future conduct of business. Therefore, outflow is not probable. I have also said that it is better to create provision. If you are creating provision, just try to entity will like to create provision, or entity will try to avoid creating provision. Entity will like to create provision. Nalayak? Why they will like to create provision? Nalayak? Oh my God. First I need to come to tax. We pay tax as per Income Tax Act, as per our books of account. Right now, whatever I am teaching, that is not as per Income Tax Act. How much provision you create, that is disallowed under Income Tax Act. Just try to understand. We will always try not to create provision because we would like to disclose more and more profit to our investor. From accounting point of view, we will try to recognize more and more incomes and less expense. From tax point of view, reverse. And taxable profit and book profit are different. I am teaching you for book profit or taxable profit. I am not DD faculty. It means entity will never try to create provision. Now, in this case, it is always better to create provision, but whether entity will create provision, no. Because it depends upon future conduct of business. Simply. But then also they want to create provision. Create. I said it is better to create provision. But as per Ind AS 37, outflow is not probable. But if entity think that yes, outflow is probable, then create. Nothing wrong in creating more provision. Are बोलना रे? Nothing wrong in taking umbrella. Understood whatever I am saying, but no entity will create provision practically. No entity will create practically. So from examination point of view, you should say yes, because it depends upon future conduct of business. No provision is required as per Ind AS 37. As per Ind AS 37. Any doubt? Any doubt? Correct. Means simple word, what they want to say, everyone. What they want to say. And believe me, why you are asking doubt in my class? Because I have given a chance to ask. Otherwise, in CA Inter, you have never asked. For this, some appreciation is required or not. One clap is required from me. Is I have forced you to ask doubt. And for the first time, you have asked doubt in the second class. Array. So I am happy that you are participating. And happy that you are participating. Means you will not have faith on my discussion. Contrary, till you understand, ask, no sir, no sir, no sir, no sir. You are wrong, you are wrong, you are wrong. I will justify. It is my duty. But now you have understood. Have you understood? So it means, I will try to conclude with this word, only those obligations which exist independently from entity's future conduct of business should be recognized. In other words, obligations which are dependent on future conduct of business should not be recognized as provision because outflow of resource not a probable. I'll give you one more example, best example, but not right, because that is related to some other. I'm not going to that example because for that I need to teach you some other point also. Correct? But if you have not understood, give me some time. You will appreciate whatever I have said right now with that example. Understood? Right? I hope whatever I have discussed you have understood. We'll continue this tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll try to complete this chapter. Correct? Thank you very much. We'll meet tomorrow. Till then, bye bye. Take care. Enjoy.